You say two things about that, Dotun. So one is in the chapter on Liverpool, when I speak to Joe Blott from Spirit of Shankly, he addresses exactly that point and makes the point that what do those people, those tourists, what do they come for? And let's be honest, all of us on this recording, we've all been football tourists. I went to Berlin recently and went to watch Dynamo Berlin, which is not on the usual tourist bucket list in Berlin. And I love going to watch football in other countries. I want to go to Argentina and see some games, because I read a bit about that recently. So there's nothing wrong with football being global and with people wanting to come and see it, but it's all about balance, isn't it? So Joe was telling me that when the Anfield Road end was extended at Anfield, that there were no additional season tickets issued at Liverpool. So you grow the capacity of the stadium, but you don't create any more season tickets. Why is that? Because the part-time visitors, the one-off visitors who should, of course, as visitors to our country, be welcomed and embraced and made to feel at home, those people are given priority over traditional local fans. But what do they come for? They come for the atmosphere that the, if you like, predominantly Scousers have generated at Anfield. So, clubs have to be careful about this. And sorry to keep going on, but you said, Dotun, at some point, that point in English football happened in 1992 with the creation of the Premier League. Now, I've done a chapter in the book with David Dean, who is, many people remember, very good director at Arsenal, really did a fantastic job for Arsenal Football Club, I think. But David takes pride in the fact that he's the architect of the Premier League. And the story that he tells is that of post-Hillsborough, something needed to change in football. What I tell, the story I tell, based on my own research as a fanzine writer, is that Hillsborough may well have been the moment, the catalyst, in terms of people like David Dean being able to persuade government and persuade others that the Premier League needed to happen. They were plotting the Premier League or something like it years before Hillsborough. And I've got the receipts to prove it with interviews that I did as a tyro journalist for my fanzine.
Because I think this is quite complex and contradictory. I agree 100%. That whole elitisation thing was being planned years before Hillsborough. Much to my surprise, years afterwards, I looked at the football being played and I thought, you know what? It's much better. And if you compare it with, say, the mid-'80s, the players were not fit. No, the amount I went out drinking with some of them, I just couldn't believe that professional sport. Just couldn't believe it. They were drinking champagne as if it was lager, and it's like you got a game in 3 days. You think, for God, the diet and something. So the players weren't fit. The pitches were an absolute disgrace. And now, because the pitches are better, it's led to the development of talents that couldn't have flourished 40 years ago because it would have been stuck in the mud. So in some ways, there have been improvements.
Yeah, without a doubt. But those, sorry, Tim, go on. Go on then. Those improvements aren't the product of the Premier League, are they? They're the product of kind of evolution in football.
But they are the products of wanting to produce a product that you can sell all around the world. So there is a link there with money. Now, what I see, just wait till I get to the end. What I see here is quite complex and contradictory, because the success of the Premier League, and it has been a success, is, for me, it's a combination between the old and the new. The new has worked in part because the old has such strong roots. And if you talk to TV executives in other countries, they love the Premier League for the atmosphere that's created in the stadiums, for the fact that the fans are right up close to the pitch, and you can see that it means something to them. So, and without you take that away, and the event has nothing like the same power. So for me, it's been a combination of the strength of the old roots and the improvements which have been made to the level of football played. But at what point, and here we're moving, I think, towards agreement, at what point do you think that the balance tipped too far away from the essence of the clubs representing their communities?
I think it's an organic and an ongoing thing. I don't think it's a finite thing, but just an observation to throw in. I know this is a bit sideways of the point that you're making, Tim, but I think when we talk about football culture, which is embedded in every town and city and village of England and of Scotland, I would argue as well. I mean, Scotland is every bit as much a football
Or even more
country
so, I think it's
as England.
the highest percentage of people
Yeah,
per population who attend games, and they've got 4 divisions. It's
yeah.
extraordinary.
But culturally, and again, there's a bit of the book, I suppose, where I'm leaving people to join the dots about politics. There are bits of the book where I'm not, where I'm quite explicit about it, but there's bits of the book where I kind of leave you to join the dots. Okay, but we are incredibly passive in some respects about this incredible institution that is English professional football, and the counter to that, I suppose, were the demonstrations, even amongst supporters of elite clubs when the Super League happened. People said, "We ain't having this," and they stopped it. People power stopped the Super League. Brilliant. And our fans were more passionate in opposing it than supporters in other countries were. Brilliant. Good on them. You know, surprised me, pleasantly surprised that Chelsea fans, Arsenal fans, Man United fans, Liverpool, they weren't having it. Good on you. Good on you. And then opening day of the season, Friday night, Liverpool against Bournemouth. You're an away fan. You've got to travel to Merseyside on a Friday night. We now have a regular Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday rota on the televised football. In Germany, when they had Monday night football, obviously Germany's a bigger country geographically, but we still have journeys of hundreds of miles. In Germany, when they had a regular Monday night game, the fans weren't having it. They took whistles to games. They threw tennis balls onto the pitch. They said, "Yeah, we're going to be on television. There's more television, or as much television in Germany of football as there is here. Live matches, including 3 o'clock kickoffs on a Saturday. But we're not having it." And our fans are we've got this incredibly vibrant cultural thing that is football, and people clearly care hugely about it. In some regards, though, and particularly in regard to the business side, people are incredibly passive about it. And, there's a level at which I kind of think, well, you'll get what you deserve then. If you let them do all these things, and you said it earlier, Dotun, the rich will do whatever the rich will do. Well, they will if we let them.